Classic race cars are always cool, and the original Shelby Daytona is one of the coolest. But unless you're absurdly rich, this Factory 5 Type 65 Coupe R is as close as most folks will ever get to owning one. It belongs to a great local Austin race shop called Hammerdown Motorsports. They're just starting to get this car set up for some exciting plans in the near future, like competing at Super Lap Battle at COTA in a few months, and they really wanted to protect that shiny blue paint with some paint protection film. At Bespoke, we love rare or unique cars because first and foremost, we're car geeks. But in the PPF world, vehicles like this usually come with an additional challenge that not all shops or installers want to deal with or have the experience to do well, which is having to perform a completely custom bulk install. In this context, the term bulk refers to the method and process of applying PPF to a car without the luxury of pre-made and convenient patterns that already match the car. For most modern and high production vehicles, you can typically use software and a plotter to cut out a bunch of pieces of film from a large roll. You peel those off and apply them to the car in the specific locations that they're cut for. It's not truly that simple. There are some additional steps and skills required to be a professional, but it certainly makes the job a lot easier and faster than a bulk install. It's kind of like the difference between buying a suit off the rack that's already your size but might need some alterations to fit better versus having a completely bespoke suit tailored from scratch just for you. Paint protection film is purchased in rolls of various sizes that range a bit between brands and film types, but film is generally offered from as wide as a 72-inch roll down to a 12-inch option with 12 and 6-inch increments in between. That's where the bulk install process starts. The installer needs to take a good gander at the shape and size of the car, make some measurements, and then decide which film sizes make the most sense to start with. Then cut out a big bulk rectangle of film and get to work. With this specific car, the hood and fenders are gigantic and have some serious curves, so there is no roll of film large enough to cover the entire thing in one big piece, meaning the first challenge is to decide how to approach combining multiple pieces of film to produce the coverage needed with a clean and effective install that has as few seams as possible and fits properly so you don't have issues with film peeling up afterward. We were really happy with how our approach worked out. It only took 5 pieces of film to cover the entire front half of the car, aside from the small pieces needed for the lip, lights, and side vents. Plus, the amount of disassembly required was kept to a minimum, with only the headlight covers and canards needing to be unbolted. We were able to use 2 long pieces of 48-inch wide Suntech reaction film to cover everything on the hood and fenders to the outside of the white stripes, and that includes stretching down the front side around and beneath the headlights. Then we used those stripes as the perfect chance to hide the seams with 3 pieces that covered the area down the middle from the back of the hood to the big vent, just below the vent, and then the small portion just above the lip. Because we were able to cover each fender with one long single piece over the top, sides, and front, there ended up being only one additional seam on each side, which we cleverly hid below the large carbon fiber canards on the corners so that all of the seams are kind of hiding in plain sight. In fact, once we finish this car, most people that have seen it don't even realize that it has any film at all, and the ones that already know have to be shown as proof. We made this video not only to show off a cool car and give ourselves a pat on the back for a job well done, but also as a chance to further educate consumers about some of the inside info and experiences behind the scenes in the PPF industry. If you have a classic, rare, or unique car, paint protection film can absolutely be a worthwhile service to consider, but it helps us set expectations and understand the differences that exist when it comes to the installation process, which of course will directly affect the finished product and the cost. PPF on a nice car is almost always a good idea, but depending on the car, the shop, and your budget, your results might vary. And when it comes to a bulk install, your results might vary a lot.